Hey, everybody. Oh, that's weird. Let's get back to there we go. Actually, that's probably even worse. Look at that. All right. Hey guys, I want to do a quick video here. Well, it's not quick. It's probably gonna be about 15, 20 minutes, but I saw this video and I couldn't help. I just had to share this. This is a Tennessee committee meeting on I think it was a criminal justice subcommittee meeting, and this Democrat filed a bill that was going to repeal their constitutional carry, um, the constitutional carry bill that was recently passed last session. And hey, what's going on, Donna? Constitutional freedom fighter, Ali Bell, welcome. My early people here. Just the Facts is in the house as well. Um, but so yeah, he filed this bill. The committee heard the bill, and um, the Democrat representative apparently accused the committee of not doing any work, while he himself has not been working at all either because he's been dealing with, um, I guess, a death in the family or something. What he's calling gun violence, but is really suicide. With a family member like this that we're about to see, I can see why his family members um, are unaliving themselves, and you're about to see that. So here's the video.
Bill 1392 by Representative Pearson.
Hear this.
All right, you're recognized.
Thank you. And Chairman Russell, if you have a question, I'd be happy to answer it before someone calls the question. I appreciate the conversation and discussion because that's what democracy requires. Our participation, our questions, our conversation, our discussion, not just the end of debate because you don't want to hear something. This bill is to repeal permitless carry. In our state, we've had this since
Yeah, I
2021.
know it's low volume.
This
I'm
bill
trying to
has
mess
been
with the
passed
settings, but I don't know why
against
it's
the will
such a
of
low
our chiefs
volume.
of police, against the will of our sheriffs. We have seen a sad increase in the number of homicides and suicides as well. This body repealed the permit requirement to conceal and carry a handgun in most public spaces, gun deaths have increased. And I saw some folks here from the Tennessee Firearms Association, a leader there, John Harris, said, if you want to carry a gun for self-defense in Tennessee, go get the permit. 59% of Tennesseans disapproved the 2021 bill, and we are continuing to live with the ramifications of the decision of too lackadaisical attitude and legislation related to guns and firearms in the hands of people who should not have them. I am a proponent not just of the Second Amendment, but of the right for people to
So
responsibly carry a firearm.
this guy says he's a proponent of the Second Amendment, but yet you're about to see. They love saying this. I'm a proponent of the Second Amendment as long as you're carrying a musket, essentially. And again, and I apologize. I'm not going to talk too much because I know some people are going to be turning up their volume. I can't fix the volume. I'm sorry. I don't. I've looked at it trying to figure out what it takes to bring up the volume, but it's in there. So I'm not going to talk too much because I want you guys if you're gonna put up your volume a little bit more, then if I start talking, you'll blow your ears out. So for the most part, I'll pause it first, give you a second to turn it down if I pause it, and make my comments there. Hey, Brian's in the house. What's going on, man? Everyone else as well. But so I'm going to start this again. Get ready to turn your computers up or whatever. But he sits here and talks about I support the Second Amendment, and yet he's trying to take away the rights of every person in Tennessee from having the ability to carry a gun without a government permission slip because his nephew committed suicide. Who knows what this representative did to his nephew to cause him to commit suicide? One can only speculate, but you'll see how this is. Someone from West Tennessee, so you probably know Justin Pearson because I believe he's from the Memphis area. But anyway, we're gonna get back to this. Go ahead and turn up your computers now. I'll put myself on mute, and I will. If you see it paused, it means I'm about to say something. Turn your computers back down.
In our state, giving anyone who can walk into a gun store access to a firearm that can hurt them or to hurt other people is wrong. It is detrimental. It is immoral. And it is consistently leading to more problems for our communities. If indeed child health is a critical indicator of a society's well-being, as one of our own state agencies have said, the burdens of homicide among Tennessee children is higher among blacks, males, and children aged 15 to 17, with firearms being the leading means of lethality.
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Let me restate all of that. Uh, so what you just heard him say is that he needs to repeal this law because black people can't be trusted with guns. That's what he said. He just said that the number of deaths at the hands of guns in the black community is incredibly high, and so because of that, we need to take away guns from the black community. No, he didn't say that. He said everybody. Um, he wants to go back to pre-1865 when black people weren't allowed to have guns, shouldn't have had guns. And here he is blaming the fact that the biggest threat to the black community is the black community on guns. And that's just the simple fact. If black people stopped killing black people, we would solve a ton of crime. If white people would stop killing white people, we'd solve a lot of crime. But white people don't go around saying we need to ban guns because white people are killing white people. This guy just said we need to ban guns because black people are killing black people. Um, he wants to go right back to it. So I wanted to pull that out because Democrats, they don't even realize that they're advocating to be put back on their own plantations. The Democrats, including the black Democrats, for some reason are advocating for the return of the Democrat plantations, the Democrat slavery that existed for so long, and the lack of civil rights and the ability of black people to protect themselves. Um, he wants to take it away. So, all right, I'm gonna go back. Go ahead and put your computers back, your volume back up. I will mute myself and get this started.
We have a responsibility to do all that we possibly can to protect our communities, to protect our kids, to ensure that they are safe. Since 2013, Guns in Trunks was passed. In 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, we have continued to pass legislation that has made it easier for people to have access to firearms. Now, in this moment and in this time, tomorrow, where we are remembering the Covenant mass shooting that occurred, the largest mass shooting of a school, as we continue to remember Antioch and the lives of people right in District 86, including a pastor whose funeral I have to go to this Friday, who's died from gun violence, we have a responsibility to not let politics stop us from good public policy.
For those of you just joining us, if I pause the video, go ahead and turn your your volume back down. Um, uh, Gun violence is a myth. That's all I wanted to say here. Gun violence is a myth. There's no such thing as gun violence. Um, People die from all manner of methods and means. This guy wants to blame uh, guns for the acts of evil people. How about we just regulate evil people? I mean, why can't we just ban murder? I guess we already done that. Why can't we just ban aggravated assault with a deadly weapon? Okay, we've done that too. Why can't we just ban robbery? No, we've banned that too. Apparently, laws don't work, and the only way to protect a person, because the police aren't going to protect you. The police are part of the problem. They're killing us too. I wish there was a bill here that would repeal law enforcement. That would solve a lot of gun crime too, wouldn't it? But that's not what they're talking about. They just simply want to go back on the plantation.
Realizing that the lives of our people is what is paramount, not the wishes of the NRA or the TFA or other people. We, as legislators, have an opportunity to right a wrong. And while some folks have supported not having a permit, we know that better education is and will lead to better outcomes. And if you're an economics person, financially, with the revenues from the permits, over $11 million will be coming back to our state. We have a moral obligation.
Now, this is interesting that he would talk about revenues, and he's talking about revenues because of permits, right? However, when you remove the permit process, more people go and get firearms. More people carry firearms, and when more people carry firearms, more people buy firearms, and guess what happens? Revenue for the state, tax money. You get a lot more tax money by repealing a license than you do from keeping the license, because you get, whatever that little amount of money is, unless you're someplace like Illinois, where in order to get a license, it costs hundreds of dollars, but that just means that fewer people are getting those licenses. So here he is complaining about revenue issues because people are not getting a license, when the lack of a license has actually increased revenue to the state through the sale of guns and ammunition and accessories. It has stimulated the economy in that way. I mean, if we're going to talk about a purely economic reasoning behind the passage or repealing of a law such as permitless carry, then you're on the wrong end of that too. You're just not smart enough. These gun grabbers don't understand anything about self-defense, about guns. I bet this guy doesn't even know how a gun works. As you'll see, he probably shoots his gun sideways, and I say that has nothing to do with skin color. It has to do with the way that he reacts, and you'll see that coming up here soon. But I just wanted to talk about the economic issue here that he's talking about. He's talking about, oh, we've lost this money because of people aren't getting licenses ever since we repealed the requirement for a license in 2021. Now nobody's getting licensed and we're losing that revenue. Well, you're actually gaining revenue because more people are buying guns, ammunition, training. People are going out and getting training. They're not having to beg for a government permission slip. And the audio is good for me. I know the audio is bad for the video, and I apologize for that. I didn't realize it recorded so low, but I don't know. What can I do? What can I do? The program that I used to use, I had to get a new computer, and the program that I used to use to do my screen grabs is no longer available for some reason. I used to use something called Lightcam, which was Lightcam Pro, which is really awesome. And I've had to use until I can find something better, essentially the print screen video option that comes with Windows right now. So I am looking for something okay, but I know my volume is good. However, the video volume is low. That's why I keep pausing it and muting myself so that I don't blow your eardrums out when I'm about to play a video, which is what I'm about to do right now. So I'm going to mute myself, and we're going to continue watching this.
Obligation to do what is right. And this law has not, at any moment or any time, helped to improve the safety of any person living in the state of Tennessee.
So for those just joining me, if I pause the video, it means turn your volume back down so I don't blow your eardrums out. But he just said that the law, the unlicensed carry law, has not made anyone safer in the state of Tennessee. If you're a criminal, that's correct. If you're a criminal, the law has not made you safer, because now more people are able to carry without a government permission slip. Criminals don't have to go online, or aren't able to go online and see, oh, okay, where are all the permits at? Oh, okay, this county seems to have very few permits, and I know people can't carry without a permit, so I'm going to go commit my crimes there. I guarantee you, and these, I'm not going to come up here with anecdotal stories, but you notice he's not bringing up any stories or statistics about how many people have been able to, the uptick in people who have been able to defend themselves. And there's a reason they don't do that. The reason that these gun grabbers don't talk about self-defense statistics is because they would have to admit that their so-called gun violence statistics include legitimate self-defense with a firearm. If somebody attacks you or breaks into your home and you shoot them, guess what? That's so-called gun violence to the Democrat gun grabbing crowd, to the communists in America. That's what they label as gun violence. You take away all of the self-defense shootings and the justified shootings, and gun violence drops precipitously a lot. All right, turn your computers back up. Let's keep watching this video.
And so I implore you, care for our kids, care for our communities, care for our families who are suffering because of bad laws and bad legislation that put the voices and the ideas of a few over the lives of millions of Tennesseans. We need to do something about the gun violence epidemic. We have the power to do something about the gun violence epidemic, and we don't just have to offer some empty thoughts and prayers. We can do something. And now is the time to do it. And I will continue to advocate for that because I believe in it. Personally, from our family's own experience to the experiences of too many people in our district and in our community who are suffering from the lack of good laws and good regulation. I know a lot of people who own firearms and want for responsible gun ownership to happen with responsible education as well.
So here's my question. He just said he knows a lot of people who have firearms and he wants to talk about responsible education. And he talks about people who shouldn't have firearms. Here's my question there, Representative Pearson. You just said your family member shot himself to death with a firearm. Where were you? Why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you take away his gun? Why didn't you tell someone else to take away his gun? Why did you allow your nephew to take his own life? If he means so much to you, how was he able to do that? It wasn't the gun's fault. If he was suicidal, he would have done it anyway, some other way, or he would have found a way to get a gun illegally. The fact of the matter is that licensing requirements make it easier for only the law abiding to be victims. And because the criminals don't care, they've never followed the licensing requirements. They go and get their guns whether there's a licensing requirement or not. When you take away that requirement to get a government permission slip, you put every citizen, those millions of Tennesseans that you're talking about, you put every single one of them on equal footing with the criminal element. All right, let's keep watching.
You don't have to throw out responsible gun ownership in behalf of the Second Amendment. Thank you. With that, I renew my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Farmer. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And
Now, really, just for the record, because I didn't include that video here, prior to this hearing on 1362, HB 1362, Representative Pearson had another bill that he laid out, which was 1361, and had made a comment about the committee not doing, not working hard enough and not working very hard. So the reason I wanted to tell you that is because you're about to hear a conversation that's predicated on something that's not in this video. That's the background of why Representative Farmer is getting ready to say what he's going to say and then the response to that. So wanted to kind of give you that background.
with regards to your remarks, you talk about, well, we need to be heard, democracy, and all this. I know every member in this committee's been here this year working during committee, during session, voting on bills.
Yes, sir.
And I know you may have some things going on, but you have not. So I don't think it's fair to come in front of this committee and lecture us on hard work and convictions and hard work for our committee. So when I understand where you're at and what you're doing and why, but at the end of the day, we've been here working. We've been on the House floor voting on bills. We've taken the tough questions. We've taken the tough votes.
Yeah.
And we're doing so. So I don't think it's fair for you to come here and lecture this committee on hard work when we've been up here doing the hard work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now, you just heard that. Very respectful, not accusatory. He just said he doesn't think it's fair for you to come up here and lecture this committee about not working hard when we've been working hard. All he did was make a matter-of-fact statement. That's the problem with Democrats. Everything to them is emotional. And you're about to see what I mean by that. Everything to them, they can't respond in a rational manner because their brains are just not wired to think logically, to think rationally. They are wired to be emotional and to create an emotional argument, screaming, yelling, making just non sequitur arguments and accusations and claims. So you heard what he just said. You heard what he just said. Now, let's watch the meltdown.
Thank you, Chair Doggett, and thank you, Chair Farmer, for your comments. They incense me. They make me very, very angry. Very angry. Not just because of the lack of regard, but the disrespect and the same denigrating tone that you used on the State House floor when the vote to expel me happened. It's disrespectful. It's unbecoming, and it's beneath the standard of a person who's supposed to represent in the Tennessee House of Representatives.
So this is his real frustration is that Representative Farmer tried to get him expelled, probably because of actions like what you're about to see.
It is a pathetic excuse for you to not answer the question of why we are doing nothing about the gun violence epidemic than to personally attack me. But let me explain to you what I have been doing, Representative, since you asked. My brother, Temperance Darnell Pearson, one of the loves of my life, passed away from gun suicide on December 1st of 2024. And since that happened, it shattered my family like gun violence has shattered so many families. Shattered my nephew's lives, my mother, my father, my other brothers who are remaining. I buried my brother. I planned for his entire funeral. My fiance made his obituary. I made sure that he was taken care of, even in death. That's what I've been doing. But also, not just that, I went to all of my nephew's schools. I met with their principals and their teachers to ensure that they are okay. I gave them and made sure that they had grief counseling and that they're seeing a psychiatrist. That's what I've been doing. And while you're talking about hard work, you need to realize that our job is not just in this state house with these marble floors. Our jobs are on the streets and in the communities that we serve. And so while you've been here passing bills that have been hurting transgender children, while you've been here passing bills that have been hurting the poor, hurting the marginalized, hurting the disenfranchised, while you've been here passing bills that have not ended poverty, while you've been here passing bills that have not helped people who need Medicaid expansion, while you've been here doing the hard work of making sure that our state is not the state that it can be, because you have decided
Representative Pearson.
reality of our situation is only to be
Representative Pearson.
while you've been here doing that.
They cut off his mic.
Representative Pearson.
Meeting with young people, going to school, registering
Representative Pearson.
voters. That's what I've been doing. Hard work doesn't just happen.
I don't understand why he's not being held in contempt. You think you and I would be able to get away with that if we were testifying like that?
Chairman Farmer seems to think that he somehow
Representative Pearson.
seems to understand my life better than I do. You need to understand that hard work isn't just sitting there and shutting up and passing a bill. It's doing the hard work of justice and love and mercy.
Okay.
Hey, look at the white woman in the front with her fist in the air. Yeah, yeah. Let's black people unite. I'm a white woman.
May not like you. Saying in front of people who you know will disrespect you, people who you know will talk down to you, and saying in the honor of people like my brother, in the honor of people who have died from gun violence, in the honor of people who have died from suicide, we need to pass better laws
Representative Pearson.
and fight for a state.
I don't understand why he's not banging his gavel.
Pain of gun violence that me and my family are experiencing. That's what you need to think about, Chairman Farmer. Come on. And if you can't think that, learn to shut up.
All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Learn to shut up.
Ladies and gentlemen. Chairman Farmer, briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Pearson, it seems that it's very common in your party when you disagree with a comment, and I was not disrespectful to you, that you resort to yelling. Basically, everything you just told me, you just did. I have a family. I've made sacrifices every year. So you
Representative
can't.
Pearson. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Representatives, we are.
The
I
left
know
is just
this
so
a very difficult
irrational.
Time for you to be back up here.
They're just so
I'm sorry for
incredibly
the things that
irrational.
You've experienced. You've been a great uncle. You've done the things that you were supposed to do to help your family. I understand that. If I was in the same situation you were in, I would be doing the same thing. I understand that. Okay. I know tensions are high up here today. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do our best to be as civil as we can up here. Okay. And I appreciate.
Uh-oh, he talked about
that very much.
civility.
So with that.
So
being
now they're
said,
going to do the vote. He's not going to be happy about that.
Lamberth, he was next on my list.
Move previous question on the bill.
Previous question has been called on the bill. We have objection. Okay. We are now voting on previous question. All those in favor of previous question, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. The ayes prevail. We are now voting to send House Bill 1392 on to full judiciary.
Uh-oh. He ain't going to be happy. Oh, his bill failed.
Does anyone wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 2 ayes, 7 nays.
The noes prevail.
Here comes the
House Bill
chaos.
1392 fails. 5-minute recess.
So he called them into a look at all these people. Yeah, the reason he called it a 5-minute recess is because Pearson ran over and went towards the back there where Farmer was standing. Here's what you don't see in here's what you don't see in this video. Let me put this up for you. This is what you don't see. This is another angle of that. Whoops, hang on. There we go. This is what you don't see, is the fact that Pearson goes all the way around to the back of the committee in order to confront Farmer in a violent way. And of course, he's got to be physically held back. Look at Farmer. He's just sitting there. He's just sitting there, and he's like, these people don't bother me. I ain't scared. Touch me, bro. Remember, I don't need a license to carry. Go ahead and assault me. Everybody's trying to hold him back. All these people trying to pull him back. But this is what you don't see at the end of this video. See all these people. Let me back this up just a little bit. Because while they're doing this vote and calling the vote, Pearson decides he's going to go and try to attack Farmer.
Does anyone wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 2 ayes, 7 nays.
The noes prevail. House Bill 1392 fails. No. 5-minute recess.
Yeah. See, they're holding him back way back there. And if you, I mean, and to the point where Farmer gets bumped a couple of times. But this is what you don't see. This is the shot that you don't see. I mean, just talk about this guy's supposed to be a government representative. CGL says people were telling people holding them back not to touch him, not to touch the guy who's getting ready to touch Farmer, the assault. So Danny's Thought says there's 2 videos that show the same kind of crap going on. The Political Spotlight, Leroy Truth Investigations. Okay, they got that stuff too. I just love it. I just love it, man. I just love it. I will agree with this right here as well. I think civility in many cases is overrated. I think there are times for incivility. I don't think there's ever, except in very extreme circumstances, a time for violence. But I definitely think that civility is overrated. I think what's truly in civil or uncivil is the way that government tries to control every aspect of our lives. I think what's truly uncivil is a bill like this and a bill author like this who is trying to disarm law-abiding citizens. That's what I think is truly uncivil. I just realized when I blew this back up, this picture, that my little cancer spots here are showing. I've got skin cancer that I've been getting treated for. I guess I need to go back. I didn't realize how. Maybe I need to start wearing some makeup. I don't know. But anyway, that's what that is. Yeah, so I wanted to show you guys that. This is, here's the irony of this, right? What are they trying to, they're sitting here, the whole purpose of his bill was to solve gun violence. And meanwhile, this guy's over here getting violent. I mean, maybe he's the one that needs to be disarmed. Here's the reality. Here's the reality of why Democrats don't trust people with guns. It's because they don't trust themselves with guns. They can't be trusted with having a firearm and not using it in the wrong way. They are the ones that should be disarmed, if anybody. But I don't even think they should be disarmed. I don't even think it's illegal for people who are in this country illegally to have guns. I think they have a right to self-defense as long as those guns are used legally. Why? Because the Second Amendment doesn't grant Americans rights. The Second Amendment is simply a codification of pre-existing right to self-defense. Every human being on the planet has a right to defend him or herself. And so I think so-called illegal immigrants have the right to carry. I think that Africans have a right to carry. I think that Mexicans have a right to carry. I think that Canadians have a right to carry. The Japanese have a right to carry. The Chinese have a right to carry. The Lesothans have a right to carry. If you don't know what Lesotho is, it's one of the only enclave countries in the world other than the Vatican. which means a country within a country. I think that the Madagascarans have a right to carry. I mean, everyone in the world has a right to carry for peaceful and lawful purposes and for self-defense. But these people don't like that because they know that they are the violent ones. They are the ones that can't be trusted with guns. And so, their mindset, their philosophy is, well, hell, if I can't trust myself with a gun, I don't think I should be able to trust anybody else with a gun. So, there you go. I'm going to leave you guys with that. I just thought that was a funny video. You're not winning anybody to your side of the argument when you're doing bull crap like that. And then you start bringing in all of these emotional pleas. That's all they have. Go to any, as a matter of fact, on Tuesday, right? So on Tuesday in Austin, I will be in Austin on Tuesday. Actually, I'll be in Austin a couple times this week. So I'll be there on the 1st. Of course, it's a gun day there on the 1st. That's Tuesday. HB 2895 is being heard, and where's my list at? HB 2895 is, and I'm losing my mind because I forgot. Let me see here. HB. Sorry, I'm tracking so many bills I forget. 2895. So this is about relating to the legal justification of using deadly force. And what this bill does is essentially says that you cannot. Here it is, 931, which is the self-defense thing. It says a person is justified in using force against another if they're committing a violent felony. So what that bill does, 2895, and that's the only hearing I'm tracking on the 1st, is if you see somebody committing a violent felony, you are able to use force to stop that violent felony. Okay. And the problem that we have, believe it or not, in this state is if you get involved in an issue that doesn't even have to do with you, and you use force, you're likely going to get charged with a crime, and you're going to have to prove that it was in defense of someone else. And a lot of times police will just arrest everybody and let the court sort it out. Because they don't think, they don't have the ability to think. They don't have the ability, like Democrats, to rationalize. They don't have the ability to analyze. Too many cops, they just arrest and quote. I mean, how many times have you heard it watching videos? Well, this isn't the place to make that argument. We'll let the courts figure it out. Well, you're supposed to be a law enforcement officer. You should know what the law is. And the courts shouldn't be the reason that my clients it's taking so long to get justice is because the police have this attitude of, I'm just going to arrest you and let the courts settle it and figure it out. And so you throw all of this nonsense crap into the court, and I go to a docket call, and there's literally probably 100. Well, maybe not that many. I don't think I've seen 100 yet, but definitely I've seen around 60 cases that are on the docket call where there are so many people in the courtroom that it's standing only, and some people are having to wait outside the courtroom. And when the judge calls their name, because they're not able to be physically inside the courtroom, the judge will essentially say, call it out in the hall and threaten to revoke their bond because they weren't there when the judge called their name. But it's because so many of these nonsense cases are being filed by cops who just say, let the courts settle it. Let the courts figure it out, instead of just doing their job. And their job is very easy. It's not that hard. All they have to do is know what law they're enforcing. And you know what? If you don't know what the law is you're enforcing, then don't arrest somebody. Okay. Collect the data that you need to collect and say, accuse them of a crime, take their data. And then you know what? Do some actual police work. And if there's actually a crime being committed, get a warrant, go arrest them then. Don't just because you get pissed off that they've got a camera, or because they know more than you do about the law or some particular aspect of the law, throw people in a cage. I got a client right now is thrown in a cage for what? Walking down the road. Allegedly, he wasn't walking down the wrong side of the road, by the way. But for walking down the wrong side of the road, it's a max fine of like $173. The guy, they threw him in jail. Why? Because he exercised his right not to answer any questions. And he wasn't walking down the wrong side of the road, but the cop didn't like the fact that he refused to identify himself because he wasn't accused of a crime. And he wasn't accused of a crime until the officer made one up and then threw him in jail over, even if he's convicted of walking down the wrong side of the street, there's no jail time. So we were trying really hard, and let me tell you something. This is what's wrong with both parties, Republicans and Democrats. Okay. We can't get a bill passed in this state. And there's been several that's out there. We can't get a bill passed in this state that prevents and prohibits law enforcement from throwing someone into a cage for a Class C misdemeanor punishable by a fine only. Punishable by a fine only. In other words, if you're convicted, the most serious punishment you're going to get is a $500 fine, but they're going to throw you in a cage. And we've got several bills trying to get this law passed that says, no, look, if it's a fine only offense, no cops, you can't throw them in jail no matter how much you want to. Write them the ticket and move on. Write them the ticket and move on. Okay. All right. Let me get some of these comments, and then I'm gonna head out and head to bed. It's about 11:30 at night. Do you handle any cases in the Panhandle, Amarillo? I have. I don't, because no, I'd love to, because I have family in Amarillo and in Memphis, which is near Amarillo. I would love to take cases out there. The problem is, a lot of people can't afford me, and I don't mean it's because I'm expensive, but if I have to take a case in Amarillo, it's more expensive because for me it's like a 6-hour drive. It which is one way. That's 12 hours alone. I'm on the road. I have to get a hotel, because especially if I've got a morning hearing, there's no way in hell I'm leaving at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to get to a 9 o'clock hearing. I'll do it, but you got to pay for it. So do I take cases out there? Yes. But I don't take many cases because most people can't afford to hire me and pay my travel and pay my expenses that are required for me to make such long drives. Same thing goes with El Paso. There are a bunch of people who've called me from El Paso. And when I factor in my normal fee and then I have to factor in all the travel time, keep in mind, I mean, this is why I'm actually constricting my reach in Texas, because if I start taking cases beyond essentially a 2-hour drive, that's an entire day I'm not working on anything. Here's a perfect case in point. Earlier this week, I had a motion hearing. I had filed what's called I call it a writ of habeas res. These are things that I write. You've probably never heard of a writ of habeas res, but you've heard of a writ of habeas corpus. I've also filed what I call a writ of habeas pistola. And essentially, these are writs that demand the return of my client's property. Okay. In one case, of course, a pistol. In the other case, res, which is Latin for a thing, right? You've ever heard of res ipsa yeah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm getting res ipsa loquitur. It's 11:40 at night. Sorry. But res is a thing. So I went anyway. I went to go file this motion, and the drive it's 3 hours away to the city, 3.5 hours actually, to the city, that I had to go and get this hearing on for this motion just to get my client's cell phones returned that were taken from him for a crime that never existed. I think they were just trying to get some data off the phone, and hide it. I'm waiting on my client to let me know if anything's been deleted. So that's 6 hours, 6, 7, 8, about 7 hours, because 3.5 hours one way. So that's 7 hours I'm on the road. And for 7 hours, I literally, they called the case docket. I walked up to the table, now made my announcement, Judge, I'm here. He says, okay, we're here for this motion. Is there any objection from the prosecutors? No. Okay, no objection. All right, I'll just sign the order. 5 minutes max. I did a 7-hour drive for a 5-minute hearing. And you know what that means? That means that for 7 hours, another paying client or another case that I could have been working on didn't get worked on. So if I'm going to be doing long distances, I just have to be compensated for it. I can no longer afford to take these far away cases for pennies or nothing. I've done a lot of low bono and pro bono, what I call. So, yes, this is unfortunately true, and I've tried to work on that and get that fixed where you can be arrested and jailed for just about anything. As a matter of fact, there are really only two so-called crimes that you can't get arrested for. One of them is speeding, unless it's reckless. If they add the recklessness in there, and I believe recklessness is generally defined as 20 miles or more over the speed limit, or speeding at a certain speed through a school zone, things like that. So it's just speeding is not an arrestable offense, and neither is an open container. Open container is not an arrestable offense. Now, if the open container leads to a DWI or a DUI, then that's a different cause altogether. But believe it or not, people get ticketed because they go around and they pick up cans off the side of the road, and a lot of these cans are like Bud Light and Coors and Dos Equis and all that kind of stuff, and they throw them in the back of their vehicle so they can go and turn them in. It's very obvious that's what they're doing, is collecting cans. And a police officer will pull them over for something stupid and see that they've got beer cans in the back of their truck or car or whatever. And oh, there you go, open container law. It's stupid. I mean, they'll arrest you for anything. The fact is, LEI on the streets are not knowing the law and enforcing feelings into shame. Absolutely. We just got to roll that back. Whoops, sorry about that. This one here. How about pay for a standby attorney with you? But again, I mean, if I were to do a standby attorney, I've got to pay that attorney. That attorney's not going to work for free. I'm one of the few attorneys I even know of that will take the kind of cases that I do for the kind of money that I take them for. I mean, I'm at a point now, because I've been doing this for 2 years, and I've got a bunch of civil cases in the federal courts that I'm hoping end this year, and it'll solve my drought, where I'm actually starting to make some money. I'm breaking even essentially right now, but it's taken a beating on my car. My car, which is only 2 years old, has got 86,000 miles on it. My 2-year-old car, thankfully it's a Toyota, 86,000 miles on it. If something were to happen to that, I'd be screwed, because I am not making the kind of money that I need to for driving all around the state. But that's not why I do it. I don't do it to make a whole lot of money. But the fact of the matter is, I can't go poor and go into debt trying to help other people. I just don't have the resources to do that. I don't come from a rich family. I'm not a rich man. I'm a combat veteran, and if you know anything, while we're in service, we're not exactly paid a whole lot, and if we're and then when we're retired, we definitely don't get a lot in retirement. Hey, Constitutional Freedom Fighter, thank you, sir. Have a coffee on me. I do appreciate that. I really do, because sometimes these faraway cases, I leave very early in the morning, very early, and coffee. I pretty much live on caffeine and hate. That's what gets me going, is caffeine and hate. But thank you for that $10. I really appreciate you. When the 13th Amendment was passed, white people created jaywalking to put them in prison to bypass the 13th Amendment. Yeah, yeah. I mean, all these little victimless crimes. I mean, jaywalking, walking down the wrong side of the street. It's just stupid. I mean, I look back at old videos from, like the 50s, the 40s. You look back at photos from even earlier than that, and the kids were playing in the street, people were walking down the street, and how did we get to this point where everything is a crime now? You've got to be, I had a bill back in was it 15? I think it was 2015. I wrote a bill. My representative, Molly White, filed it for me, and it was to repeal that walking down the wrong side of the street statute. And this is how stupid it is. And the problem that we have right now is the Republicans, the cop-sucking Republicans that are in the legislature, care more about their police endorsement than they do about freedom. They care more about their police endorsements than they do about the rights of people. They care more about their police endorsements than they do about rationality, just being rational. And I mean, looking at a law like, for example, I've got a client that is accused of walking down the wrong side of the road. Guess where? Is this in the middle of a giant high trafficked area? No. Is it a highway? No. Is it a congested area? No. It's a neighborhood. How many neighborhoods? In my neighborhood, there's one road that has a sidewalk. That's it. One road. That's the main road that all the other roads come off of, right? It's the only one with a sidewalk. So under the mentality of the law and under a police mentality, because they don't know how to think, if I want to go talk to my next door neighbor and I don't want to be rude and walk through their yard, essentially wow, deleted my comment over who deleted a comment? I didn't delete any comments. I haven't deleted anything. What are you talking about? What comment? What joke? I haven't deleted anything. I have not deleted anything. I mean, hell, my hands are right here. You know, they're down. You'll see my arm go up if I'm playing with anything. So anyway, where I was, so under the logic of the all powerful government and the retarded law enforcement, under that logic, in order for me to go to my neighbor's house, I have to cross the street, and heck, under their logic, I better cross the street at the right place. In other words, I better make a left, go to the intersection, make a right, cross the street, make a right. But do I cross the street again to go to my neighbors? Do I have to go all the way down to the next intersection, cross the street, and then come all the way back? Because I can't walk down the wrong side of the road. I got to walk down on the left side of the road facing traffic. Or do I just need to cross the road? Thankfully, in my city, we don't have these stupid jaywalking statutes. So I can just cross the road anywhere as long as it's safe. But I would have to cross the road, make my right about 30 feet or whatever, 40 feet, and then make another right, cross the street to go to my neighbor's house because I'm not allowed to walk down the wrong side of the road. That's how stupid this is. That's how stupid the charge is against my client. Although it's nothing like that. He was actually walking down the correct side of the road. I guarantee you, because I still haven't gotten the body cam footage, and the prosecutor's saying he doesn't have it yet. I guarantee you, it's I didn't turn my body cam on because it wasn't there wasn't any reason to, I didn't think it was going to be an issue. Okay, whatever. Whatever. All right. If you bump the wrong way on a cell, your comment is gone. Relax. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I mean, just don't ever accuse me of deleting stuff. I don't delete shit. Okay. And even if I have, and I don't know if I've got any moderators in here, they know not to delete stuff either. I don't care. You can say whatever you want. You can even make fun of me and talk bad about me, and I'll highlight your comment and have a discussion with you. So I don't delete stuff. Don't ever accuse me of deleting stuff. I don't do that. Hey, thank you, Paco, watching from Australia. G'day, mate. My daughter's getting ready to go down to Australia. My other daughter already went to Australia. I think last month went to Australia. Had a good time down there. Brought back some really cool stuff. I got some kangaroo jerky. I wasn't really, I asked her to get me a bunch of weird exotic jerkies. I got some kangaroo jerky. Wasn't really that good. I don't know if it was maybe the kind I got. Because I was like, yeah, I want to try some kangaroo jerky, but yeah, I didn't really like it. She brought me like alligator, kangaroo, was it emu? Bunch of exotic jerkies from Australia. Let's see here. Let me go back up. Oh, by the way, I just saw this comment, and I don't know what happened either, but it looked like something happened where my subs weren't activated, and I don't know when YouTube had done that. I didn't realize that. So I think now I reset my subscriptions, and now that I've done that, and I realize I've got this, one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be releasing subscription only videos. And these are videos that the only reason that they would be subscription only is because they're not things that I necessarily want out public for everybody. But I think, for legal reasons or strategic reasons, but still I want to be able to provide content just for people who sub to this channel. So, or member only. Yeah. Member only. Sorry. Memberships. I thought subscriptions were memberships, I guess. Whatever. Memberships. Okay, so I just instated memberships. And that's what those memberships will be for. And really, the main thing, because I don't want anybody thinking that you're going to get a whole bunch of, there's going to be videos every week or every day, because I just don't have time for that. Really, that's the reason I'm doing that, is because it helps to offset some of the costs of all the low bono and pro bono work that I do. All right. This is where is it? There it is. Jerky is jerky, mate. Maybe. Jerky is, there's some bad beef jerky, or not beef, but there's some jerkies really are not good at all. I've had some bad jerkies. Bad jerkies. Must be hard dealing with the law and the system. It is. It's so frustrating because the law is very clear in many, many cases. And quite frankly, I mean, the law is overly oppressive, even in a country like ours where we're supposedly free. The problem is the system. The system is what makes things just terrible. And oh, holy, what was that? What did I just see here? Hey, thank you, sir. Well, there we go. So there's 5 memberships. 5 memberships were gifted there. I don't even know what that means. If I'm supposed to do something, I will look that up and see if I'm supposed to hand them out to somebody. We'll figure that out. Let me see something real quick. I'm going to do something. Let's see. I gotta learn stuff on the fly here. See if I'm supposed to give those out or what. How does that work? Did you just pick people? I don't know. I've never really tried to get rich off of this. Oh, it's automatic. Okay. So it just picks people? Oh, it's random. All right. Okay. Well, it gives for you. Oh, it gives them out for me. Okay, good. So I don't have to do anything. Well, thank you anyway. I appreciate that. And congratulations to anyone that received that. I will be putting a video up this weekend, by the way. So if you do get a membership this week, today, you will get a video that I'm going to put out of what happened to me yesterday or Thursday, where they threatened to arrest me again. And I've got this is my letter to the county, essentially telling them how they violated my rights and how they violated state law and how they violated federal law. And here's what I expect you to do if you want to avoid a federal lawsuit. I will be putting that video out that created this 8-page document that I wrote against a county. So if you subscribe, or not subscribe, but if you get a membership, that's what that membership's going to do. All right, let me take just a minute or two here and see if there's anything else. Yeah, Desom, thank you. Yeah, it's very. That's why I went to law school. I mean, literally dealing with the law. I remember one day. There's just I just remember this day, and I said to myself, literally and audibly, "Fuck this! I'm going to law school." Because I got fed up. I got fed up with fighting them on the streets, because when you fight them in the streets, you always lose. They've got the guns. They've got they've got the ability to kill you. And if you defend yourself in a way that you would defend yourself against anyone else attacking you, you're going to end up dead likely. And I just got tired of that balance being so tilted, and decided to go to law school. And I literally just one day said, "Fuck this! I'm going to law school." That was it. I was done. I was fed up. All right. I think Indiana listening in to Sensible Logic. Thank you, sir, ma'am, whoever you are. We're lucky to have Guy Relford here in the Heartland. Excellent. That's good. That's good. Tell Guy I said hi. Let's see if there's anything else here. I'll be there to give testimony on 2895 on Tuesday with my own experience in Denton. Good. Yes. Yes. I will see y'all. I will be there on the 1st. Remember the hearings at 9:30, so be there early. And so you can get your parking. I guarantee you the mad mommies are going to be there. The mad mommies of Moms Demand Action will likely be there. So be ready. This right here is why our laws are so bad. By the way, so I told you about that bill in 2015 that was filed about walking down the wrong side of the street, right? To get it repealed. It was a very simple bill. It just said section so and so is now repealed. The Texas Municipal Police Association actually testified against the bill and was against the bill because, in their words, if we don't have this, we're just going to have people walking down the middle of the road. It's going to be chaos. This is what they think of you, folks. This is what the police unions think of you. This is what these senior law enforcement officers in too many places think of you. That you are so stupid that without a law telling you how to walk down the road, you would just walk down the middle of the road. That's just how stupid Texas law enforcement are. I'm sorry, their unions and their leaders are. That was literally their argument. That was literally their argument against the bill, was that if we repeal this law, people are going to be walking down the middle of the street. I mean, just absolute stupidity. Yeah, Mad Moms love me. I still take pride in the fact that when one assaulted me, and of course I got him up against the wall, he was charged and had to attend anger management classes and pay a $500 fine. So what's interesting is the Mad Mommies go there and they whine about violence and why they've got to take away guns, and because all the violence. And the only people that have been violent during any of these bill hearings on gun issues have been the left, the people trying to solve violence. All right. Ever been victorious in getting a cop that was blatantly violating codes, laws, and police were charged with a crime? I have not gotten one charged with a crime yet. I've gotten several fired. And of course, I've won some civil suits. And I've gotten some fired, and I've gotten some forced to retire, but none charged with a crime yet. Nothing charged with a crime. I have no idea who's in charge of the Texas Sheriff's Association anymore. I used to be Open Carry Texas for a long time was a sponsor of the Texas Association of Sheriffs. And then they started testifying against our bills, and we stopped giving them money when they got new leadership. They used to have good leadership, and they were on the side of freedom and the Second Amendment. But when they stopped doing that, I stopped giving them money, and then they kept calling me, and I'd give them an earful. You ain't getting another dollar from me. We used to get plaques because we were sponsors of the Texas Association of Sheriffs, because generally we could count on the sheriff's departments to do the right thing. And I don't know what happened. They just lost their ever-loving mind. Ever-loving mind. All right, guys. That is it. It's 11:58. I was going to try and get this done by midnight. I just wanted to sit and talk with you guys for a little while, unless you got something else. Any update on Aransas Pass? Several updates. It depends on what case you're talking about. As far as the civil case goes, we are waiting on a motion for summary judgment for the judge. We were scheduled for trial in May, and that was on the Followell case. This is all public record, so I'm not saying anything that's not public. And I think what's gonna happen in that case is the claims against the city will survive, but the claims against the individuals are gonna drop, because keep in mind, this was my first federal case, and I think I misunderstood, at least procedurally, the difference between suing in their official capacity and suing in their personal capacity. And I know that now. I know now the reality of how to sue properly and not get people dropped from a lawsuit. But I just always assumed, if you're, and they don't teach you a lot of this stuff in law school. And a lot of times attorneys learn this by going to work with big firms and learning as they go, or if they're getting ready to file something, they've got a mentor that they can go to that essentially kind of tells them what to do. all right, I need you to file this law here. Here's your case. This is going to be your case. You need to sue them in this capacity. And so, but I don't think it matters in the follow-all case, because even if they drop off the individuals, the claims against the individuals still essentially survive, because the individuals were acting on a policy of the city. The city had a policy. It's been included as evidence. And so as to that, what's going to happen is, I think the court is going to dismiss the charges, the causes of action against the chief, the city manager, the mayor, etc. But as to the city of Aransas Pass, I think those claims will survive. Now, as to the criminal cases, because as you know, 10 days after we filed our civil case against the city and all of those officers decided to retaliate 10 days later by charging us, me and Jason, with a Class A misdemeanor of hindering a public proceeding by disorderly conduct under 38.15 of the Penal Code. And that was in March of last year. So March 10th, I believe, is when they charged us. Because we filed March 12th. We filed our lawsuit on the 10th. I believe they got served a few days later, and then 10 days after that is when they filed their lawsuit, or filed their charges against us. And so they charged us with 3813, which is a Class A misdemeanor of hindering a government proceeding by disorderly conduct. In January of this year, they dismissed both of those charges, but then they refiled them against both of us. So they changed my charge from 3813 to 4205, which is disrupting a proceeding by disorderly conduct. It's a Class B misdemeanor for me. For Jason, keep in mind, Jason, he and I are like 18-0 or 17-0 against Aransas Pass and all the charges that they've tried to get him on. And so they refuse, of course, to back off their retaliatory conduct against Jason, because I don't know why, actually, but they're refusing to. They dropped his 3813 charge and then refiled it as a 3813. I never got the new complaint from him. I got the complaint on my case from my prosecutor, but I never got the complaint and stuff from his prosecutor. And so I didn't realize that they had refiled the same charge against Jason. So they dismissed it and then recharged the exact same crime for him. Because I went to do last week or a week and a half ago, I had a motion to quash the indictment or the information because it was a violation of his rights. And when we got there, and nobody bothered telling me this. The motion said everywhere, for 3813 and blah blah blah, because I assumed they dropped his to a Class B as well. And then we get there, so the prosecutor never contacted me and said, "Hey, your motion says that we're charging him with 3813, but we're not. We're charging him with 4205." And then I would have been like, "Well, wait a minute, why'd you do that? Why would you dismiss it and then just refile it?" Because I had already filed a motion regarding 4205 when he was originally charged with that. I could have just kept that motion. And the judge wasn't happy when we had a motion to hear that, when we had a hearing to hear that motion, and the state wasn't prepared. And the judge was a little bit miffed about that. And then now he's miffed because I show up and I file my motion again to quash. And they're like, "Oh, judge, he's not even charged with that. We haven't had a chance to, we haven't been properly notified on what the argument is because he's not charged with this." And I said, "Judge, look, I'm literally going to cross out 3813 or 4205. I'm literally going to cross out 4205. I'm going to write in 3813, and everything here is going to be the exact same." And of course, the state's like, "Well, it doesn't matter, Judge. We haven't been put on notice." I said, "Judge, I'm going to use the exact same case law. I'm going to make the exact same arguments because literally all they're doing is changing it to the." And I even said that they're lowering it to Class B, and she says, "No, we actually went from a Class B to a Class A." And then I was like incredibly confused because I'm like, "Well, he wasn't charged with a Class B before. He was charged with a Class A." And so then I get with the prosecutor after this hearing because we had to reschedule it and I had to redraft it. And so you know what I did? I threw the book at him. My 9-page motion to quash became an 18-page motion where I include just about every case that supports our argument, instead of just laying out the legal argument and including the cases that are most important. I mean, I went to town on the case law in this case. So that's where we stand on those. They refiled against me. They refiled against him. I had the motion for Jason Followell's charges is rescheduled for I think it's in May sometime. And then my motion to quash was earlier this week, a couple of days ago actually, and I lost. The judge thinks apparently, well, I'm not going to get into any of that. Let's just say I've got a great case for appeal. I'm not worried about losing at trial. I demanded that we set it for trial. It is set for trial on May. I think we set it for trial in May. Let me make sure here. It might have been June, actually. Hang on, it might have been June. Yeah, June 9th. So my trial for daring to read the words of the Constitution or the words of case law by the Supreme Court and other circuit courts. So my trial in 25 CR 95051B it starts on June 9th in San Patricio County. Because I said, let's just go to trial. I'm tired of these retaliatory charges. I couldn't believe I lost it's frustrating. You know, I think we were talking earlier about the fact that we were talking earlier about the fact that you know, the system kind of sucks. And this is it. I mean, think about this. Think about this. I'm facing 6 months in a cage and a $2,000 fine for reading case law and summarizing case law. Why? Because it had profanity in it. They're going to throw a person in a cage for speaking profanity. 2 city council public officials. So anyway, if anybody's there in San Patricio County on June 9th, and you want to watch the trial, we anticipate about a 2 to 3 day trial. So yeah, 2 to 3 days. It must be draining. Yes. I don't know if you can tell. I'm incredibly tired. I don't even know why I'm still up at midnight. The weekends is when I should be able to get some sleep. Yes, the woman who said, "Lord have mercy." Yeah, and that's actually, believe it or not, let me put this up here. This is what they referred to as a reasoning behind my comments, and tried to say that the word that I said, the C word that I said, any reasonable person would find it offensive. And I said, well, yeah, Judge, it is an offensive word, but the First Amendment protects offensive words. Being offended is not a crime. You can't criminalize being offended. Otherwise, you've got a standard of criminal activity in mens rea that's 300 million different standards, because that's how many people are in this country. So it is, yeah. And I even told her, I was like, look, Judge, you know, that person who said, "Lord have mercy," is a Christian fundamentalist. She literally thinks my client is the devil. Okay, I could have said, "Gosh darn it," and she probably would have been. I'm such a weak-spined politician. All right. There you go. There's the update on Aransas Pass. But you know, it's like I said, you know, the First Amendment is not there to protect us speaking about the weather. The First Amendment is not there to protect us being able to, um, you know, talk about how pretty the flowers are. It's there to protect speech we disagree with. It's there to protect speech that people find offensive. It's there to protect speech that people don't want to hear. Okay, if you don't want to hear it, close your do what she did. Leaving. I can't stand the First Amendment. I've got to get myself out of here. I might hear more free speech. That's what you do. You don't charge people with crimes because some weak spined mental midget has a problem with speech and gets elected. How do people elect that person? Anyway, I'm looking forward to you filing my case, sir. I'm tired of the threats and intimidation tactics the city is trying to utilize to silence me. And then Matt R, just do not make a video. Oh, yeah, Matt R, just do not make a video. Yeah. So I should make it. All right, guys. Hey, look, I'm gonna leave. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I do appreciate the looks like I got $10 today and a couple of memberships. So I do appreciate that. Again, I'm going to try and get that video uploaded to my membership side this weekend. So you still have some time to get a membership if you want to see that video. It's about 11 minutes long, unedited. And the reason I don't completely public is I'm not really ready for it to go completely public. It doesn't hurt me in any way. I'm not worried that if it gets out there that it'll hurt my case. It won't. I mean, it's the facts. So all right, you guys, yeah, exactly. Like right here, this right here. Yes, they should walk the hall to high school and hear the language. Absolutely, absolutely. But by golly, say it at a city council meeting. All right, guys, you guys take care. Be safe. Be free. Talk to you later. I'm gonna try and get some sleep.